Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Orange County Funding Corporation. It is Friday, October 27th, 2023 at 10:05 a.m. And we'll call the meeting to order. We'll do ask for a pledge of allegiance.
Flags right here.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And Bill, when you're ready, we'll ask for a roll call.
Sure. Dean Tamburri,
Present.
Susan Walski,
Present.
James Rinaldi,
Present.
Jeffrey Chris.
Present.
Those are the folks that are here in person. Giovanni Palladino,
Present.
Mark Green,
Present.
Dr. Vincent Odock.
Present.
We have all 7 members here. For staff, we have myself, Bill Fioravanti, Marty Boras, and we have Jose Rojas from Acquisitions Marketing handling our AV.
Okay. Thank you. The proof of notice, as always, the proof of is duly and properly was noticed, so thank you. And we'll just move right to new business. Our only item in new business is the 24-27 budget.
That's it, thank you.
OCFC.
Right, so start with OCFC. Just a reminder that we do enter this budget once it's approved in our Paris reporting. It's due in a few days actually for that. They require not only next year's budget, but the 3 years of projected budgets out. So that's why you're seeing that in there. I do want to thank Mark Green because he worked with me a lot in this past week to really get this where it was. And we think it's in really good shape. Mark, do you want to kind of make a statement about it actually, about kind of where we are in terms of our balance and such, the way we balanced it? You want me to just run through it?
I included it on the email.
Mm-hmm.
That we've all agreed that we're going to reinvest some of the money into shovel ready, and so when you see the negative number, a big portion of that will be money that is allocated towards shovel ready. And then quite frankly, the other reason why we've got part of a negative number is that we just can't be required to pay for the overseer that was allocated to us by the governor and by James Goofus. And so this is what they want, and they want to spend taxpayer money, then this is what they get. So as you look at this year and going forward, as long as that negative number is less than the combined amount that we're spending on shovel ready and the amount that we are being forced to spend on the James Goofus hire, then we are actually making money. And so I urge you to keep that in mind as you look at the budget going forward.
Great, Mark. The other real fundamental change you're going to see, especially on this budget, is that one of the ways we kind of right-sized both budgets is finally apportioning some of our expenses for personnel, administration, building expenses, even some program-related expenses when appropriate. We're apportioning some of them over to OCFC now. So we actually did it in a split based upon time that we spent in both agencies, as well as our kind of asset split we looked at. We did 84% to IDA, 16% to OCFC. So you will see that in there. And I'm just going to rip through, if I can, even line by line. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, the only thing I just wanted to add, I just want to thank everyone, obviously, for doing this and making a special time to come in for Friday, for this Friday. And thank you, Mark, and everyone's efforts to get this correct. We met last time, we had some questions, we talked about it, could we have filed it? Yes, but we wanted to get it correct. And we think this is correct, and I think everybody, you should be, did a very good job on this. I want to thank everybody for making a special time to come in. So
for sure. Thank you, Dean. Absolutely. Okay, so application fee. I'm going to rip through here line by line, like I'll do throughout a lot of our monthly financials. Assuming 2 application fees coming in at OCFC, assuming closing 1 bond deal at $150,000 fee. No loan interest, because we will at the end of this year expect to be closing out the resiliency loan fund. Recovered funds, we talked about that. It's a $64,000 receivable still with $60,000 claimed in bad debt. We received $10,000 of that, so it leaves us with $6,000 recovered. That's what that rationale is, working with Shannon from RBT. Interest earnings, this is with the assumption of investing everything we have currently invested for OCFC, getting 4% return on that. And I'll kind of extrapolate out in the further years now. In 25, we're assuming a similar balance invested at 3.5%. In 26, a smaller, slightly smaller balance, 1.6 million at 3% interest. And then in 2027, similar balance invested at 2.75% interest. So I think we're being, you know, as close as we can to project that. And remembering, again, the future budgets, the 5, 6, and 7 years, that's just to put into Paris. Obviously, I'm going to be building a new budget next year, and it will be much more highly scrutinized and be able to project, you know, more accurately. Okay, so interest earnings I mentioned, and you're seeing total revenues of just shy of $230,000. Moving into expenses and admin, salaries does still include my position, Kelly's position, Marty's position, and adding a part-time person. It's still in here. We did build in some raises and a possible raise for me, but that's up to you. But it was built in here. Health benefits, really in line with what they've been, and have a little room for increase in terms of premiums. Payroll and taxes, even extrapolated out, are in line. 401k, this represents assuming that all 3 of our current employees contribute up to 5%. We're assuming they contribute the full 5% that they can of their pay towards a retirement. So assuming that, we have 5% matching for that, for everyone. Plus administrative expenses. And again, everything I'm saying now, it's 16% of the total.
That's what I was asking you, that 16%.
Exactly. Well, everything except for insurance and the audit, because those are their own expenses for OCFC. Insurance, we have separate insurance and such. So, okay, so that is the investment, the 5% match, as well as what it costs us for administration for the plan to set it up for this year and then ongoing. Next line is deferred compensation. That's the other component, of course, of the newly approved retirement plan. That is the basically the other term, of course, we've used is profit sharing, and that's assuming 20%. Being as aggressive as we can this first year, 20% of those top 3 staff's earnings, and there is a deduction of $3,200 in there. Not to go too far down this rabbit hole, but Lubach had explained the 3 times rule. The highest employee, myself in this case, you can't be investing 3 times or more. We deducted $3,200 from my investment in order to kind of meet that 3x rule. Okay, so that's deferred compensation. CFO bookkeeping, that's just 16% of the total for the year of $25,000. Professional fees. This is our Paris reporting, what we pay to Harris Beach for assistance with that, which again is well worth it. And a stenographer for assumed 2 public hearings. The annual audit, that's in line with what we've been charged. It's $500 over the 23 rate. Insurance, that's assuming basically an 8% increase in premiums there, estimated. Travel lodging, it's 16% of the total. And office supplies, you see same thing, a share of that. So administrative expenses of $87,500 with 2. Down to project. Legal, that too actually is, we're not splitting off with the percentages. Bousquet Holstein in this case is apportioning it themselves. They're charging us for OCFC, only basically governance, like attending our meetings and helping us with governance through that short period each month. Loan program administration, that is for next year, us paying for the maintenance and support for, it's called Down Home. It's a loan administration program software that we use to manage our loan program. Again, we're gonna need it just to kind of close up next year, and we won't need that expense going forward after that. Project expenditures, that was a line item where we're not using that going forward in OCFC. So project expenses for 24, 3,460. Moving down to building expense, rent and CAM, again, that's 60% of our new total now, without as much an aggressive increase. I think you had asked about that, Sue. So we kind of make sure, since utilities is another line item, that there could be some small increase in our CAM over the year. additionally. So we did kind of clean that up. Utilities, 16% of the total here for the year. By the way, that does include some utilities for the accelerator. I'm trying to think. I don't think no, it's actually not.
So that shouldn't, because the accelerator isn't part of OCFC.
Exactly, you're right. That's in the other account, so it's not on there. And just an increase, natural increase there, 10% increase a year on utilities. Repair and renovation, just a couple of bucks. Obviously, it's just a small share of the total for anything we may have to do here, like fix these now finally, kind of get this cleaned up. Internet and telephone, just the 16% share there. So building expenses for OCFC, $17,368. Down to agency support, again, 16% of these annual totals for all our IT support, AV, and the marketing and PR work that we look to do. So agency support expenses of $24,720. Total expenses for 2024, $133,050.87. So a net profit of, even with bringing over those expenses, of $96,865.13. You see that going out in future years. I've really much explained everything that does kind of carry out. But of course, any other questions on this or anything with OCFC? Jeff?
Yes, and maybe I missed it. Is there any share of the appointed monitor in the OCFC?
Thanks for mentioning that, because we debated it last time. I ended up going with council's advice that looking through all the documentation related to the monitor that does not apply to OCFC,
Okay.
so we have 100% in OCIDA.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
One question, and I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Bond counsel has nothing to do with OCFC.
They do, but we don't get charged. They
Passed.
exactly. It's really charged to the applicant.
Okay.
The reason we do on the OCIDA side is, and with Bousquet Holstein here, is again more governance related,
Okay.
not program related.
I'm just asking the question to
Absolutely.
be sure.
Thank you.
Makes sense.
Bill, I have a question.
Yes.
Is there opportunity, I mean, I know that this is a 4-year projection, but do we get another opportunity every year to adjust the budget?
Absolutely.
Just because we've said it before, and we'll say it again, is that we have to really do what we can to drive revenue up, because our expenses are going up.
Yep.
And right now, we're showing the same revenue in 25, 26, and 27. I know that you're being conservative, but I think we really need to do what we can to get that number up.
No, you're absolutely right. And really, I'm taking the liberty of being more conservative because I don't want to say they don't mean anything, those budgets, but it's really just kind of a safe projection to put into Paris. But absolutely, year over year, I think we're going to be talking more about that really specifically, is getting those revenues up and you expecting that in subsequent budgets.
Because the flip side of that, if we can't get the revenues up, we're going to have to really do what we can to bring expenses down.
Absolutely. And limit some of the exciting things that I'd like to see us do, including more initial already and such.
Or some of our costs. So.
Absolutely. Any other
Thank
questions?
you.
So, no other questions, we'll ask for a motion to accept the budget as presented.
And can we be specific about 24, 25, 26, 27? Well, okay.
Accept the budget as presented for years 24, 25, 26, and 27 to be reported in our Paris reporting with the New York State. So I ask for a motion for the budget.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Sue. Second,
On that, yeah.
Dr. Odock, and we'll do a roll call.
Okay. Tamburri,
Yes.
Walsky,
Yes.
Rinaldi,
Yes.
Christ,
Yes.
Palladino,
Yes.
Green,
Yes,
Odock.
Yes.
7 ayes. Motion carries.
All right, thank you, everyone. And then for that, we'll ask for a motion for adjourn the OCFC meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Sue.
I'll second.
Second, and this we just ask, all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you. And with that, we're gonna go right into the IDA meeting. So we'll call the IDA meeting to order. It is October 27th, 2023. On Friday, it is approximately 10:20 a.m. And call the meeting to order. We'll ask for a roll call, please.
Sure. Dean Tamburri,
Present.
Susan Walsky,
Here.
James Rinaldi, Jeffrey Christ,
Here.
Giovanni Palladino,
Present.
Mark Green,
Present.
Vincent O'Donnell.
Present.
All 7 members here, staff, myself, Bill Fioravanti, Marty Barras, and Jose Rojas from Acquisitions Marketing on AV.
Okay, thank you. And proof of notice, again, as always, that it was duly and properly noticed. So thank you for that, for the staff. And we're going into new business for the budget for the IDA for 24 through 27.
Great, thank you. So yes, going through this 7th iteration of this budget, but I think the final one. I won't go into any other monologue. You understood, same as OCFC, exactly the approach to this, and going item by item under revenues first for 2024, $500,000 in closing fees. That assumes 4 projects closing at an average of $125,000. Still can be conservative, I do believe. 7 new applications coming in, what I do. That's a number Mark and I worked on, and what I do think is very realistic about it is we have kind of a layover between years, so we'll have more application fees, more applications coming in, but not as many closed projects. That's what that incorporates. Other IDA fees, this is CAM's revenues that we recoup for Warwick. That's only for 6 months because, again, I've told the current town supervisor and the expected incoming one that will be out at the end of June, so it incorporates that, and then you see it for no years going forward. Is that an hallelujah? Same with subtenant rents, that's from Scripted Fragrance. Of course, you approve the last lease for the last 2 spaces there, but again, they concurrently end in the end of June. Interest earnings, that again is same approach as with OCFC. It's the assumption that we're investing everything we currently have invested, this time at 4% for 2024. Same percentages, 3.5%, 3%, and 2.75% for 2027. So total revenues for OCIDA, $914,280. Moving down to expenses. Again, we really shared this with the pay increases, health benefits, payroll taxes. Same, just the 84% for the IDA share. And then down into retirement, same thing, same approach with the 5% match for 3 employees. And the administrative fees, 84% of that. With deferred compensation, again, same approach, 84% of the 20% profit sharing, essentially, being invested there for 24, and the same approach being carried out for future years. The audit, this is the expected audit for, that's a 2023 rate plus $500. Sorry, my notes were getting crossed up there. Insurance, just a 8% increase there. CFO bookkeeping, again, the 84% of the grand total. Professional fees, the 84% of the Paris assistants, and also assumes 6 public hearings for the IDA, so stenographer fees for that. Travel, lodging, and meals. This has been kind of the same amount, bumping up a little because I would like to see a board member come to one of our conferences, so we'll talk more about that. Office supplies and postage is this slight increase over what we project to be the actual amount for 2023. So we budgeted high there. So total administrative expenses for 2024 projected at $431,233. Next, program expenses. You see we have the full boat, an anticipated $100,000 for the monitor. I've talked about thinking it's going to be pushed out sometime in 24, but I think you're all right that we can't assume that it certainly could happen at any time. We have to budget for the worst case scenario, and we're expecting that value to be, hopefully that's very high, but it's plausible, and we don't expect it necessarily to increase over the years so much. Legal counsel, again, for general counsel, mostly governance kind of work for 23, and we added $15,000 for any legal work related to the monitor or any other kind of state investigation, whatever it might be, from you-know-who. Local labor monitoring actually changed this line item from the last one that you saw. We're really expecting, after talking to our labor monitors and the Legoland, we expect all that monitoring to be completed on their current project by next year, and then anything subsequent will be under our new labor policy where they'll pay themselves. So that's why you see that. Cost benefit analysis, that's again just reserving for a controversial or sensitive project that we may want to pay for an outside study. The shovel ready, we have it at the 300. You see how we have it spaced out for the future years with the idea of perhaps a more significant investment in 2 to 3 years. So program expenses totaling $473,660. Building and CAM, again, like OCFC, this is an 84% share of those, all of those expenses, including internet and telephone, so $93,277 building expenses. Agency support, again, this is also the 84% of IT support, marketing and PR, which includes some new initiatives such as radio, and the membership events. That is, we have most of our memberships for IDA. That's really where our representation is when we're out there. So this is New York State EDC and some others. And as I mentioned last week, also has $5,000 earmarked for a possible event sponsorship or sponsorships, like we did with the Cannabis Conference where we were highlighted. Training and education, continuing that for both board and staff. Agency support expenses totaling $144,430. Total expenses $1,142,599.95. With for 2024 a projected annual loss for the year of $228,320, and you've seen that loss being projected out. I'm just going to reiterate what Mark Green said, that essentially any of those losses are from the monitor expense and for money that we had planned to expend out of our fund balance, not out of funding by current year revenues for shovel-ready and such. So those are any of the losses, but of course it's just an annual loss. It's using some of our fund balance besides the monitor, which of course the senator made sure that Orange County taxpayer money had to be used for that. So, that's in there as well. But, and you see that noted at the bottom, footnoted at the bottom, those two notes. So again, I'm really comfortable with this, but with Giovanni's comment in mind that we want to exceed revenues really and continue to control costs, no question about it.
I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, well, go ahead, Doctor. Just gonna let you go first.
Now, do we, I'm not very sure, we included the expenditure, the compensation for our new monitor that we'll be having soon?
Yes, that's under program expenses, kind of in the middle of the budget. And it's the first line, New York State Monitor - Senator James Skoufis.
Oh, okay, that's I just wanted to be sure.
Sure, thank you.
You have also in project program expenses, cost benefit analysis, that $4,500. Does that include the software that we already have?
So that's kind of a sunk cost. We don't have to pay for that year after year. Actually, you have that tool, and it's based upon utilizing statistics that are local. So you really only need to renew that every several years.
Okay.
So 4 to 5 years is what the vendor that sold it to us said. So we're not expecting that for probably until 27, 28. Probably we'll look at that again.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you. Any other questions?
Now, Bill, just real quick, that 2023, that's just the approved budget. That's not actual today, correct?
Correct, absolutely. If there are any you want to ask me about, I may know off the top of my head, or I can go into QuickBooks either now or after. But if there's any line item that you want to know what the actual is going to be.
And we can,
Not a particular line item, I guess maybe like an overall in how we're comparing to 2023 so far. I know we've got a couple of months left.
Sure. You know what I'll do? I'll do obviously we do monthly financials, but I'll do a year-to-date report.
Yeah.
Very easy to punch out of QuickBooks, and I'll share it with everyone. So you can see where we stand with a couple months to go. Mark?
If I can jump in, because it's actually something that we need to do anyway, I would recommend you doing that next Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever November 1st is, so you can encompass the 10 months and get a full 10 month, because we're going to have that information, Giovanni, to make the decision on what we're going to do for the new retirement plan. And so that will be a factor as far as us being able to understand how much can we allocate, where are we running, as far as our budget goes. And so in my gut, I feel like we're well ahead of schedule because of all the interest we've accumulated over the year. But we're going to need that hard data so we can make those decisions November 15th or whenever we're meeting again.
Yep.
And that's my point, Mark. I mean, we're looking at, it was a projected loss for 2023, but I think we beat that. We've done better than that.
I think so also, yes.
And
That's
then,
the
Bill,
interesting
on the shovel-ready program, I know that we've upped all those values in there, and it's pretty high. I mean, for the next 4 years, we're talking about 1.5 million.
Yep,
But, you know, let's do our best to try to talk to these consultants and really get an understanding of what the deliverable is for that.
yep,
And how we can bring that cost down. I know that's what we're carrying, but I would really want to make it a point of driving that cost way down.
okay. Okay.
Because we have to understand what we're getting for that.
Oh, no
that's
question about
right?
it. Absolutely.
Because to me, shovel ready implies that's an investment, and an investment means there's a return, right?
Yep,
So let's just make sure, and I know we're carrying it in our budget, but that's something that, you know, I can help you with, or, you know, Mark and I, whomever.
Right, I mean,
Thank you.
No, Giovanni, that's your specialty.
No, that's you, buddy.
So if,
well,
you know,
That's you and me.
You know, there's a saying, stick to your lane. So I would
We'll
love
work with the consultants and talk about deliverables, and it's a good projection for us. I look at it as an allowance, you know, not to exceed,
correct.
but our goal is to really try to get under that.
Yeah, the only thing I was gonna add to that, obviously, those monies will be expended, again, through the board, whatever, we'll be looking at all those, you know,
Of
very
course.
carefully as they come forward, so. I just think, again, I want to thank everyone for coming in on a Friday to get this correct. Thanks for all the time everybody had put in, and I think it looks great, and I will also add that it is a conservative, which we had asked for, a conservative budget, and that's what we want moving forward. I mean, any of these numbers, Penny, could be added closings very easily, we don't know that, but so that's why I like the budget, and even though it shows a negative, it's a very conservative budget is what we had asked for, so I just want to thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. All right.
Could I just comment, as a new board member, I appreciate the board making this extra meeting and effort to make sure we get it right. And it gave me more time to understand and absorb what the budget really means. So it's neat to see this board work in a diligent manner.
And I appreciate that, it means a lot coming from you, because I know you've been in this IDA business for a long time, so thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I think we do our ABO submission for our finances in the spring anyway.
For no, we submit budgets now, but yes, our audit, we have to submit our audit.
Yeah. In the spring.
Yes.
Okay, unless anybody else have
When the
anything to
deadline
add
is.
or comments or anything, I'm going to
I don't think so. Go for a vote. Absolutely. Let's not forget that.
So we're going to ask for a motion to approve the budget for 2024 to 2027 for the Orange County IDA. Ask for a motion as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Susan, for a second.
I'll second.
Second, Giovanni, and ask for a roll call for the budget. please.
Okay. Tamburri,
Yes.
Walsky,
Yes.
Rinaldi,
Yes.
Christ,
Yes.
Palladino,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.